Welcome to Wednesday Wisdom. So we're continuing with the theme of rotation, spinal rotation, for the next few weeks, and today I'm going to talk you through thread, which happens on the hands and knees. So you're looking for a nice long neutral spine, meaning that you've got all of your natural curves, the arch through the lower back, the slight curve through the upper back, and you're lengthening your spine out in that neutral position. Vertical arms, vertical thighs. And I like to do this with a slight turn in of the hands. So I allow my fingers just to point very little bit towards each other. And the reason for that is that when we then thread the needle, which means one arm threading underneath the other to allow the spine to rotate, I can then bend this elbow on the supporting arm without it getting in my way. If I have the hand pointing straight forwards, when I bend the elbow comes backwards and sort of blocks me. So the reason for that is that I want to keep a nice connection in the back of the shoulder, so that as I rotate, I don't lift the shoulder towards the ear or widen the elbow side, because that results in this kind of alignment through the shoulder. So I'm looking for that nice tuck of the shoulder back and a nice long neck. So I turn, I'm looking at the palm, and then I exhale as I reach it around to the side, and I can take a couple of breaths to enjoy increasing the rotation. So when I'm expanding into the back of the body, I'm directing my breath into the back and sides of the ribs to allow them to inflate and expand. And then as I breathe out, I go a little bit further, provided that that's not uncomfortable or painful. I can repeat that, breathing in to direct the breath into the back of the body, letting the ribs expand, breathing out to go a little bit further. So I might repeat that perhaps 3 times before I come back to the center. So notice when I rotate that I'm still keeping my head just my arm. That makes it a little bit harder work for this shoulder. So I'm working the triceps at the back of the arm, I'm working the shoulder, and I'm keeping a sense of width between both shoulder blades. What that means is that I'm not collapsing towards the floor, but I'm pushing the floor. Even as the elbow bends, I'm pushing against the mat to keep my body lifted and supported. And there's, as always, that little bit of lift through the deep abdomen to support the spine. So I can change sides with each one. That's not possible for me on the other hand, so I can use a push-up handle, and some of you might do the same if your wrists don't bend. And then I'm just rotating around the other way, taking several breaths again to expand into the ribs, to ease a little further into that rotation. And when I've had my 3 breaths to enjoy spiraling the spine around, I come back to the center and switch hands again. So another really nice way of doing that is with a softball, and that just gives you a little bit more support. So I can do exactly the same thing, but place the back of the hand on the ball, and I've got a little bit more support this time. It helps the rotation. It frees me up a little bit. It feels a little bit more flowing and gentle, but it also means I've got some weight on the ball arm, on that underneath arm, which takes the pressure out of this shoulder and means I work a little less hard. The other thing to mention with this lovely rotational movement through the spine is that I want to feel like I'm staying on axis with my spine, a little bit like a screw. So what I mean by that is when I rotate, I'm not shifting to one side or the other, I'm not moving my pelvis at all, I'm keeping that stability through the lower body, and then as I rotate, I want to stay absolutely in the center of my mat, rotating around my spine. So it's a really nice way of getting the upper body rotating, basically. Your pelvis is lovely and stable, the rib cage and the upper body will emphasis in that rotation. I probably do about 3 or 4 to each side, and it's useful for all of us to keep that mobility through the top half of the spine, but particularly if you're somebody who knows they're stiff there, or if you're someone like me that has a scoliosis, that will really help ease the spine out, particularly in one direction if you have that asymmetry. So good luck rotating with your thread the needle this week, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Thanks for watching.